Hi Monster fans, I'm Mark Pinckney. I play Igorro on the Igorro Show, and today I just want to talk about Christmas monster stuff I got because I had a really lucky year. I got a lot of good stuff. This is stuff I already have, but it's an issue of Famous Monsters. What's cool about this one, most of the Dracula covers were, at this point, were pretty much Lugosi, but this is an early Lee, and I love it because it's so active. Which is what I liked about Christopher Lee playing Dracula, is he was very active, very action-oriented. He wasn't just kind of walking around slowly like Lugosi was, which was fine. But anyway, so that's really cool. Like I said, I have all the Famous Monsters, and as I've said before, I just haven't had time to get to them. All my monster stuff is still in boxes. I've had a really busy life. I'm a land baron. I have properties that need work, and I'm working on them, and it's just taken a lot of time off of Igorro, and that's what I've been doing, and it's taken up quite a bit of time. The Bigfoot episode, which I keep talking about, Curse of Bigfoot, I've written the music for it, I've scored the music, it's all ready to go. I just need to do the rest of it. The other thing about playing Igorro is I'm not just playing the horror host Igorro, but I'm also playing the character that he turns into. Because again, as you know about Igorro, he's a Jekyll and Hyde guy, right? So he drinks the formula, hoping to turn back into Dr. Frederick Palance Barrymore. By the way, those three names, Frederick's from Frederick March, the Oscar-winning Jekyll and Hyde. Palance is Jack Palance, one of my favorite Jekyll and Hydes. There was a Dan Curtis production by Dark Shadows producer that was on ABC, a two-parter, and the only thing I didn't like about it was videotaped, which was disappointing because videotape just didn't work. Dark Shadows was videotaped, so I'm sure they thought, well, we'll just videotape it. But other than that, the effects by Dick Smith are awesome. The hide looks great. And then the last one is Barrymore, but it's based on John Barrymore, which is the silent version of Jekyll and Hyde, which is a great version. So those are my three favorite Jekyll and Hydes, and that's why Igorro's character, Dr. Frederick Palance Barrymore, is based on my favorite three Jekyll and Hydes. So a little bit more about Igorro that I love is that, so I had this idea, I like playing a lot of characters. I don't know if you guys know this, but I am an actor. That is my profession when I'm not working on houses or doing whatever else I could do to make money. I initially worked in Seattle as an actor. Then I moved to Los Angeles, and then I was there for 7-8 years. There was a lot of fun work there. I did a lot of fun things. But then our first kid was born, and my wife said, we're done. So we moved back to her hometown, which is Spokane. And that's where I live now, Spokane, Washington. And it's an okay town. It's all right. I get to do Igorro here. But the acting work here is not really, there's not a lot of union work here, so I've had to kind of, juggle my career with other things to, support my family and live my life. So the other thing about Igorro, what I really love about it, is it gives me a chance to play these different characters. So, right, he's trying to change back. He turns into Igorro. He tries to change back to Dr. Frederick Palance Barrymore, but keeps turning into other characters, which you've seen me do. So, it's a lot of fun. I at one point had a studio that I was working in, but then the pandemic hit and it changed everything. So what I ended up doing is green screening my own space here and just filming the stuff myself. I have zero money, so I do the whole production pretty much by myself, meaning that I write and do all the music, I paint all my backdrops, even my logo is painted by me, hand painted. I don't do Photoshop or any of that crap. I do it all with a paintbrush. And I know there's a lot of other good artists out there too that are also horror hosts. A shout out to Drac, the Drac and the Countess. He's an excellent artist. With me doing all the stuff, including all the editing and all the post work and mixing and matching the music, it's just a real slow process. I don't just, I'm not saying this is bad, but I don't just turn on the show and play Igorro through the whole thing and just comment on it. I have to do costume changes, insert musical parts that I have written. I got a buddy here that has a grand piano. It's a baby grand. I write most of my music on that. But anyway, it's a long process. Love this. Famous Monsters have the whole collection except for I think a couple. Anyway, that's that. So here's another cool thing I got. Stuffy, creature from the Black Lagoon. I'm not big on stuffies actually, but this is very, unique, and I love the creature from the Black Lagoon. So, thank you. Really, this I do think is really cool. It's Peter Cushing as Van Helsing, right? From the original. It was actually released in Britain as Dracula, but here it's Horror Dracula. The one thing I'm not a big fan about these action figures, or whatever you want to call them, is when they put real clothes on them. Makes them look like dolls. He looks like Liberace. No offense to Liberace, love him, great piano player, but it's just, I get it why they do it, I guess, but I would prefer they just did the whole thing in resin. It just takes the doll look out of it. The thing about mass, like what they can't do with miniatures, they can't shrink water and they can't shrink fire. It's the same with clothes. Mass cannot be cheated. You can't fake it. But that's it. I think the likeness of him though. Oh, sorry, it looks like Peter Cushing. It's the first Peter Cushing doll I've ever got. Who gets a Peter Cushing doll but a monster fan? Me. And another one that I love is Dracula. This is Dracula. Christopher Lee is Dracula. The shot in the back, that's from Taste the Blood of Dracula. I noticed the back here, either AD 72 or the Satanic Rites of Dracula. So again, love it, but I don't mind doing a resin cape and costume, because again, it just looks like stuffy a little bit, kind of a stuffy thing going on here. I don't think I have the courage to take them out of the box. I just can't take them out of the box. I've always loved this particular Jekyll and Hyde, which is Abbott Costello meets Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And Boris Karloff, who was not interested in doing Abbott Costello meets Frankenstein, but then he saw the success of it, and I think he thought, well, you know what? Oh, okay, I'll do one. He played Dr. Jekyll, and Eddie Parker played Hyde. Always loved this particular Hyde mask. Jack Keevan and Chris Muller were the ones that did the work, and I just love the way that mask looks. I love the hair work on it. It's such a cool mask. I'm really struggling about taking this one out of the box. Should I do it? Should I take it out of the box? I kind of want it. They have their figure, right? I think you get what I'm talking about. I don't like the clothes. I like the wrist. The likeness of the mask and stuff is pretty good, right? If you see the back of the picture of Boris, right? He has white hair. But if you see the one that I have, he has darker hair. That's weird to me. It's a good rendition of Karloff, but it's not great. It doesn't look exactly like him, but it's a great kit. But out of all the ones that I am tempted to take out and set up, this one is tempting to me because I just would like to see what it all looks like, I never had this one before. Cornelius. I do have, ironically, I have all the other ones. And I've got them all over there, but they're kind of in pieces. As a matter of fact, I also noticed that I painted them the wrong colors. But I was a kid when I got them. But I do have them all now. And again, I struggle taking it out of the box. I struggle. 68, yep. So this is an original one. So let me know, you guys, comment. Should I take it out and build it? The problem is there are so many Aurora models that I still haven't worked on that I need to rebuild and repaint. I just don't have time. I gotta be honest. I'm overwhelmed. I've got so much crap on my plate that I don't even know when I really am envious of people like the Aurora Club. They're like, oh, I just finished I'm like, who has time for that? I'm a grown man. I can't do this. I don't have any time for this. I hardly can get Igorro on the board, which is my love right now, right? As a monster fan, I really want to work on Igorro. So I think it's probably going to end up in the box for quite a while. So my apologies. I don't want to offend anybody who has time to work with their Aurora kits. God bless you. Good luck to you. Thank you for doing them. This one really kills me. I'm like, yeah, Godzilla. I've never seen this Godzilla kit before. I am into it. I'm like, yeah, I got the Aurora Godzilla, and I know there's other cool ones, but I never saw this one. Comes with a backdrop. There's Godzilla, you know. Really thought it was really cool. So it was already opened, right? I was so excited to get this. I thought, oh, and it even says, you know, Astro Monster, Invasion of the Astro Monster, which I remember this film. It's a great film. It's the one with Kahedra, Nick Adams is in it. So I was like, yeah, I'm into it. So I open it up, I look at it, and I realize it's just the Jeep. It's this. I guess it says a little miniature Jeep. I felt slightly depressed, frustrated, conned. But a great box, right? Cool box. Really wish that Godzilla was in there. Invasion of the Astro Monster, my butt. That's like saying, oh, I want Frankenstein. Oh, you don't get Frankenstein, you just get the table that he lied on. Dracula! No, it's not Dracula, it's just his coffin. But then, this happened. My wife bought me this. When I bought Dawn Post masks, they didn't even come like this in these cool boxes. They just came in a brown box. And she got my favorite one. And I gotta say, I was just amazed. This is really cool. I had a Wolfman, I still do, but it's all kind of damaged and beat up. And when I was a kid, I went out with my friends when I first got this mask. It's a Wolfman mask. Went out one night, ran around the neighborhood, picked my head in windows, freaked out a little girl. She was eating cereal in her kitchen, and I put my head over, and she was like, ah! And somebody called the cops. So I was out on the street. This is a true story. I was out on the street, and cars would come up, and I would growl, and all my friends are hiding in the bushes, right? And I would growl, and I would run off. I'm out there doing that, and all of a sudden, I see these blue lights, and it's the police. And they took my mask away from me. And all my friends in the bushes stayed there. So they thought that I was just out there by myself, some freak. And none of my friends came out there and said, shh. Oh, poor Mark, but yeah, bye. They didn't care. Anyway, I got my mask back. My dad went down to the police station and got it. This was in Aberdeen, Washington, by the way. And apparently they were wearing it and running around, and the officer. And the cop that pulled me over, he was a real piece of work. What a beautiful mask. I think it costs about as much as a good used car. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. It's hard to get people to subscribe. It's like pulling teeth and then putting the tooth back in. I love you guys. I love monsters. I'm a big monster fan. Again, kudos to all horror hosts out there. I'll talk to you soon, either as Igorro or as myself. See ya.